Cheers, guys. Epix 911, welcome to the Saturday, August 12th, 2017 edition of VR News. Let's dive right into the first story, this one involving PayPal. So PayPal has introduced two labs in India to promote innovation and nurture startup companies. The labs situated in Chennai and Bangalore, India. Projects supported by the labs include artificial intelligence, data science, robotics, augmented reality, and of course, virtual reality. The official statement: to cater to their needs in the most effective manner, we are delighted to announce the launch of our newest innovation lab in India, where the focus will be on fueling new age technology and giving rise to unconventional ideas with the potential to transform the ecosystem we operate in. With over 1,45,000 registered patents between 2013 to 2016 to its credit, India's innovation potential is enormous, and it's going to certainly break benchmarks with the right kind of encouragement, says Guru Bhatt, the general manager of technology and head of engineering at PayPal. Next up, the world's biggest standalone maker of graphic chips and artificial intelligence chips, Nvidia, reporting $2.2 billion in revenues for its second fiscal quarter, blowing past all Wall Street estimates. Analysts had expected earnings of about 70 cents a share based on GAAP basis and quarterly revenue of $1.96 billion. Net income came in at 92 cents a share compared with 41 cents a year ago. Revenues a year ago, $1.4 billion. So there's one question, and that is whether Nvidia's earnings got a boost from cryptocurrency's popularity. As rival Advanced Micro Devices cited, the possibility of demand for graphic cards from cryptocurrency miners can't be understated. And indeed, AMD, they've seen a huge boost from cryptocurrency miners because the AMD GPUs so well suited to cryptocurrency mining. Finally, a lot of artificial intelligence work being done via GPUs as opposed to CPUs due to the complexity of the processor. Well, that makes GPUs very well suited to the task of cryptocurrency mining. Next up, Snap stock fell as much as 17% to $11.40 US a share in after-hours trading after the company said revenue rose 153% to $182 million and net profit nearly quadrupled to almost $500 million, or roughly 16 cents a share. Analysts had been expecting $186 million in revenue and a net loss of 14 cents a share. At its low point, Snap was trading 33% below its March initial public offering price. Remember, Snap is trying to ascend to where Facebook and Instagram already are, and that's a position that Snap has not even made it close to. Average daily users growing 21% to 173 million in the second quarter, far below the 175 million that analysts polled by the FactSet had forecast. Average revenue per user more than doubled to $1.05 US, also below the $1.07 figure that analysts were looking for. Next news story, Google Incorporated today started the Daydream summer sale. This is for virtual reality apps on its Daydream virtual reality headset. During the sale, which is going to run from August 11th through to and including the 17th, numerous apps are going to be available for Google's Daydream View mobile VR headset, and they are going to be reduced up to 60%. Apps affected by the sale include the popular puzzle game Keep Talking and Nobody Explodes. That game half off, $4.99 US, as well as Tiny Planet Warfare game Battle Planet, also half off, coming in at $5.99 US. Desktop toy-based warfare game Toy Clash, well, that game is going to be 60% off, coming in at $1.99 US. And finally, multiplayer Magic Dueling game Wands, half off, $2.99 US. If you're an artsy VR user, Sculpt VR sculpting and building app that uses a 3D canvas is down to $1.99 US, or roughly 60% off. The Daydream View headset itself was $79. It's been reduced to $59 US and is going to stay that way for one more day. So midnight today, hopefully into tomorrow. It requires a high-end smartphone such as the Google Pixel or the recently supported Samsung Galaxy S8 or S8 Plus. Back when VR was really starting to get hyped, I had absolute massive expectations for two games, Elite Dangerous and, of course, Star Citizen. Now, Chris Roberts, no stranger to the Elite-style gameplay as evidenced in Privateer. That was the kind of game, as well as Elite Dangerous, using its own ancient model. That was the kind of game I wanted to experience in virtual reality. An RPG light where you basically did missions, mined, basically did whatever the heck you wanted to build up your ship, RPG light style. Unfortunately, at least with Star Citizen, well, they seem to renege on that original deal, and all indications a few months ago were that we likely weren't going to see a virtual reality version. It all started back as a Kickstarter project in 2012. The initial release, 2014, as a AAA title. Now, Road to VR was able to ask the devs directly about virtual reality support recently, and the devs had this to say. Nothing new to report here. We do plan on having virtual reality support for Star Citizen, but it's just having to fit in as a technology with all the other technology that we are currently incorporating into the game. As I'm sure you know, VR technology is evolving quickly. As with anything that fits this category, we are going to spend the time to make sure it's integrated properly for our game. The biggest takeaway is that any and all user interface work seems to be in line with virtual reality expectations. In other words, they are designing the interface in such a way that it will be VR compatible, and that is a fantastic sign. I've never been about taking sides in the VR wars. What I care about is the games. And as with Elite Dangerous, Star Citizen, absolutely a virtual reality game that I've been looking forward to. I've talked a lot about this topic, and I've had some videos on the topic, finding the right controller for the right virtual reality task. Namely, if you're going to play a cockpit-style space game like Elite Dangerous or Star Citizen, well, you probably should be doing that with a HOTAS. In fact, Elite Dangerous's in-game renderings for control sticks were based on the SciTech X52 Pro. That's why it's the controller that I use, and it's the controller that really, for me, amps up the realism on Elite Dangerous. CCP has recently announced they plan to add Oculus Touch support for their game. Of course, CCP's game, Valkyrie. So they've announced that they're going to have beta support for the Oculus Touch controllers. Now, I still maintain, use the right controller for the corresponding VR experience. For me, this type of game, hands down, HOTAS. I think it's great that they're going to support the Oculus Touch controller, but I just think it should be one supported controller of many, with the one riding at the front of the pack being HOTAS. Look at the game's mapping for the touch controllers, and you can make your own decisions as to whether or not it makes sense for you. For me personally, I don't like the mapping. I don't like the potential of the mapping. I just don't like using touch for this style of game, period. The mapping across the Oculus Touch, just to sum it up, not as straightforward as it would be if they had done it for HOTAS. So that's a shortcoming that I'm just not prepared to accept, especially if things like missile locks are no longer something you can cancel using this approach of controller. Next up, we have The Tower, a game that is over pretty damn quickly. I'll let you decide if the price is right given the amount of playtime. According to Upload VR's Jamie Feltham, he finished the game in about 45 minutes. Let's take a look. So what's so cool about this game is the attention to room scale detail. Every room in the game seems to be in sync with your current spatial room scale limitations. In other words, it seems to match. It doesn't have that feeling that you're consciously running into your green screen or a wall, then have to turn around. No, it seems to keep all of that in stride, and wherever you're walking, in-game, there's a corresponding location. I love that. Now, the game's going to set you back about $4.99 US. For that, you get roughly an hour's worth of gameplay. However, that hour, from everything that I've heard, read, watched, seems to be packed with room scale that, like I said, really matches up with the space that you actually have available to you and mapped when you sync the controllers. Leaning to avoid an obstacle, for example, it's not just about leaning. For example, if you lean too far to avoid an oncoming object, you may just fall off the conveyor belt that you're standing on. Jamie Feltham from Upload VR, he noted several times that he would adapt to an area, but no sooner did he adapt to the puzzles than the area would seemingly evolve. For example, he was getting used to the levels when suddenly keys were thrown in as requirements for completing the level, something he hadn't experienced to date. Much different than the puzzles up to that point. And that's pretty much the main point. Come up with fantastic gameplay. The graphics, not as important. In this example, the graphics are good, but served even more by the fact that they managed to keep the in-game play area in sync with your real-world room scale, which is freaking awesome. All right, guys, that is it for the news on this Saturday, August 12th. As always, cheers.